Before we begin, I want to ask you something. Do you ever find yourself drawn to the quiet stories? Not the loud ones filled with shouting and chaos, but the soft ones, the slow ones. The kind that feel like a late-night conversation with someone who finally tells the truth? If you're someone who stays until the last second of a video, if you believe the smallest moments can change everything, then take a second to subscribe. Because this channel isn't about noise. It's about honesty. And if you've ever had a moment that quietly shifted your life without anyone else even noticing, press like, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Sometimes it's comforting to know we're not alone while listening to stories like this. Alright, take a breath. This one isn't dramatic. It isn't explosive. But it's real. And sometimes real is what stays with you the longest. I didn't plan to ask him that night. There was no speech prepared in my head. No practice run in the bathroom mirror. No mental rehearsal while washing dishes or folding laundry. It wasn't supposed to happen. It just rose up. The way certain truths do when you've been holding them down for too long. The kind that sit quietly in your chest for months, pretending to be nothing. Until one day they refused to stay silent. It came from a tired place. Not angry. Not resentful. Just tired. Tired of pretending everything was perfectly fine. We were lying in bed. On our sides. Close enough that I could feel the warmth of his body through the blanket. But not quite touching. It's strange how distance can exist even when two people are only inches apart. The room was dark except for a thin line of orange streetlight sneaking through the curtains. It painted soft shadows on the wall. The ceiling fan hummed lazily. Outside, a car passed every few minutes. Everything felt normal. Too normal. The kind of normal that slowly turns into routine. And routine, if you're not careful, turns into quiet drifting. I could hear his breathing beside me. Slow. Steady. Familiar. Safe. I had fallen asleep to that sound for 7 years. 7 years. It sounds long when you say it out loud. 7 birthdays. 7 winters. 7 anniversaries. Thousands of shared mornings. 7 years of knowing exactly how he takes his coffee. 7 years of finishing each other's sentences. 7 years of love. Real love. But comfortable love. And sometimes comfort scares you more than conflict. His hand moved in his sleep. Instinctively, like always. Searching. And then his fingers found mine. He laced them together without even waking up. That small, unconscious gesture squeezed something deep inside my chest. Because even half asleep, he reached for me. Like I was still home. Like I was still his first thought. I loved him. God, I loved him. That wasn't the problem. The problem was, love doesn't always mean nothing is missing. And admitting that feels almost like betrayal. For months, something had been whispering inside me. Not shouting. Not demanding. Just whispering. Soft but persistent. It showed up in strange moments. When he kissed my forehead instead of my lips. When our conversations became grocery lists and electricity bills. When "how was your day?" turned into "did you pay the internet?" When we went to bed exhausted instead of connected. When we sat next to each other on the couch, both scrolling our phones together but separate. When I started feeling like we were roommates who shared memories instead of lovers who shared dreams. Nothing was wrong. And somehow, that was exactly what felt wrong. I turned toward him. Slowly. Carefully. Like even the mattress springs might expose me. He opened his eyes almost immediately. He always did that, light sleeper. The second I moved, he noticed. He blinked at me in the dark and smiled. That same smile. The one that made me fall for him years ago. Soft. Sleepy. Genuine. "You okay?" he whispered. 2 simple words. I almost said yes. That was my automatic answer. Always yes. Always fine. Always okay. Because saying anything else felt dramatic, ungrateful, selfish. But the word got stuck in my throat. And instead, I swallowed. Hard. "There's something I've been wanting to ask you," I said quietly. He didn't tense. Didn't sigh. Didn't sound annoyed. He just shifted closer. More awake now. More present. "What is it?" he asked gently. That gentleness nearly broke me. Because it reminded me how safe he was. and how scary honesty feels even with someone safe. My heart started racing. Not because I was about to confess something terrible, but because I was about to confess something true. And truth sometimes feels more dangerous than lies. I want us to try something, I said. My voice sounded smaller than I expected, like it belonged to someone younger, someone unsure. He didn't answer immediately. He just watched me, waiting, listening. The silence wasn't awkward. It was heavy, full, like the air before rain. Try what? He finally asked. I took a breath. And another. Because once you say something out loud, you can't take it back. I miss us, I said. The words felt fragile. Like glass. I don't mean us living together or paying bills or planning schedules. I mean us. He frowned slightly. Not confused. Just focused. I miss the way we used to look at each other like nothing else mattered. I continued. I miss staying up too late just talking. I miss feeling chosen. Not just included. My voice cracked a little. I don't want to feel like we're just existing beside each other. I want to feel close again. On purpose. He slowly pushed himself up on one elbow so he could see me better. The streetlight caught his face. Soft shadows. Tired eyes. Familiar. Home. Have you felt like this for a while? He asked. I nodded. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't want to sound ungrateful. Because I'm not. I love you. I just want more of you. Not less life. Not less responsibility. Just more us. He didn't interrupt. Didn't defend himself. Didn't explain. He just listened. And sometimes listening is the most loving thing someone can do. Then something unexpected happened. He leaned in. And kissed me. But not the quick, absent-minded goodnight kiss we'd gotten used to. Not the automatic one. This one was slow. Intentional. Like he was trying to say something without words. Like he was remembering me. Like he was meeting me again for the first time. His hand cupped my face. And for a second, everything else disappeared. The bills. The chores. The years. All gone. It was just us. Breathing the same air. When he pulled away, his forehead rested against mine. I thought I was the only one feeling that, he whispered. And in that moment, I realized something that almost made me laugh. Two people. Both in love. Both missing each other. Both too afraid to say it first. How many couples live like that? Side by side. Silent. Waiting. Both starving, while sitting at the same table. I didn't want to pressure you, he said softly. I didn't want you to think I needed too much. We both let out a small, quiet laugh. The irony hurt. And healed at the same time. So, he asked gently, what exactly do you want us to try? This time. I smiled. Being intentional, I said. Touching without rushing. Talking without phones. Going on walks. Holding hands again. Choosing each other. On purpose. Not just because we're married, but because we want to be. He closed his eyes for a second and exhaled. Like he'd been holding his breath for months. I want that too, he said. And that night, nothing dramatic happened. No movie moment. No fireworks. No grand promises. We didn't magically fix everything. We just stayed awake. Talking. Remembering. Laughing quietly. Kissing slowly. Holding each other like we had nowhere else to be. And somehow, that felt bigger than anything else that we didn't fall asleep for a long time that night. Not because anything big happened, but because something small finally did. And sometimes, small things are the ones that matter most. After we stopped talking, we just lay there, facing each other. Eyes open. No phones. No television humming in the background. No distractions pretending to be comfort. Just the quiet. And for the first time in months, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt full. Like there was finally space for us again. His thumb moved slowly over the back of my hand. Back and forth. Back and forth. The same way he used to do when we first started dating. Back when we couldn't keep our hands off each other. Back when every touch meant something. I had forgotten how powerful something so small could feel. How something as simple as a hand on yours could say, I'm here. I choose you. I still want you. Without a single word. Do you remember our first apartment? He asked suddenly. His voice was soft, sleepy, warm. I smiled immediately. Of course I remembered. How could I not? It was tiny, I said. Tiny, he laughed quietly. It was basically a closet with a stove. The shower barely worked. The heater sounded like it was dying every night. And we had that neighbor who played music at 3 a.m. We both laughed. Real laughs. The kind that come from your stomach. Not the polite ones. Not the tired ones. The kind that surprise you. But what I remembered most wasn't the broken heater, or the peeling paint, or the cheap furniture we bought secondhand. It was us. How we used to cook together in that kitchen that was too small for two people. Bumping elbows. Arguing about recipes. Stealing bites off each other's plates. How we used to sit on the floor because we couldn't afford a proper table yet. How we used to talk about everything. Dreams. Fears. Plans. Kids. Travel. The future. Back then, the future felt huge. Wide open. Like anything was possible. Somewhere along the way, that feeling shrank. Not disappeared. Just shrank. Like life slowly folded it up and tucked it away between responsibilities. I miss that version of us, I whispered. He nodded. Me too. Not sad. Not regretful. Just honest. And honesty felt lighter than pretending everything was perfect. Eventually, we fell asleep facing each other. His arm around my waist. My head on his chest. Listening to his heartbeat. And for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like something was missing. I didn't feel alone while lying next to the person I loved. I just felt home. The next morning didn't look different. The sun still came through the blinds too early. The alarm still rang too loud. The coffee machine still made that annoying gurgling sound. Life didn't magically transform overnight. And honestly, I'm glad it didn't. Because real change rarely announces itself. It sneaks in quietly. But something was different. Subtle. Like when winter starts turning into spring and you can't pinpoint the exact day it happened. You just suddenly notice the air feels softer. When I walked into the kitchen, he was already there. Hair messy. Half asleep. Making coffee. He looked up when he heard me. And instead of just saying morning like usual, he walked over, put one hand on my waist, and kissed me. Not quick. Not distracted. Just slow. Present. Intentional. Like he meant it. Like he was choosing me again. My stomach flipped in that old, familiar way. The way it used to years ago. And I realized something surprising. Feelings don't disappear. They just get buried under routine. And sometimes, you just have to brush the dust off. Good morning, he said, smiling against my lips. I couldn't help it. I smiled back like an idiot. The kind of smile you can't control. The kind you had when you first fall in love. And for a second, I felt younger. Lighter. Like time had loosened its grip on us. We started small. We didn't make some complicated plan. No big rules. No pressure. Just little choices. Little efforts. Little moments. Because love isn't rebuilt in grand gestures. It's rebuilt in tiny ones. That day, while I was at work, my phone buzzed. I expected a reminder. Or a bill notification. Or something boring. Instead, it was a text from him. I miss you already. That was it. 3 simple words. No reason. No special occasion. Just because. And somehow, that message stayed with me the entire day. I must have read it 10 times. Like a teenager. Smiling at my screen. Feeling ridiculous. Feeling happy. We started eating dinner at the table again. Not the couch. Not in front of the TV. At the table. Facing each other. Actually talking. At first it felt awkward. Like we'd forgotten how. We'd gotten so used to background noise. Screens filling the gaps. Silence felt strange. But slowly, the conversations came back. Not just how was work, but what are you thinking about lately? What do you want this year to look like? Are you happy? Big questions. Small questions. Random questions. The kind that make you feel known. One evening, we went for a walk after dinner. Nothing fancy. Just around the neighborhood. The same streets we'd driven through 1,000 times. But walking felt different. Slower. Quieter. Our shoulders brushed. Then our hands did. And without even looking at me, he reached over and intertwined our fingers. Like it was the most natural thing in the world. Like we'd never stopped. I didn't say anything. I just squeezed his hand back. Because sometimes words would only make it smaller. We started laughing more too. That surprised me the most. I hadn't realized how quiet we'd become. How serious. How tired. But now, little things made us laugh again. Inside jokes. Old memories. Stupid things. Burnt toast. Bad singing in the car. Dancing badly in the kitchen while waiting for pasta to boil. It felt silly. Childish almost. But maybe that's what love needs sometimes. Not maturity. Not perfection. Just play. And the strange thing was, nothing about our life actually changed. Same jobs. Same house. Same responsibilities. Same problems. The only thing that changed was attention. We started paying attention again. To each other. To the small stuff. To the moments we used to let slip by unnoticed. And suddenly, everything felt warmer. One night, while folding laundry together, he stopped mid-sentence. Just stopped. I looked at him. What? He studied my face for a second. Like he was memorizing it. I forgot how beautiful you are when you're just being you, he said. Not dramatic. Not smooth. Just honest. And my heart did that stupid flip again. 7 years. And he could still make me blush. How crazy is that? How rare. That's when it hit me. We hadn't fallen out of love. We had just fallen into autopilot. And autopilot is dangerous. Because it convinces you that fine is the same as fulfilled. That comfortable is the same as connected. But it's not. Not even close. Love isn't something you find once and keep forever without effort. It's something you choose. Over and over. On random Tuesdays. During stressful weeks. When you're tired. When you're annoyed. When life feels boring. You choose. Again. And again. And again. And somehow, that choice makes it stronger than any spark ever could. A few weeks later, we were back in bed one night. The same room. The same streetlight. The same quiet. But it didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt peaceful. He pulled me closer. Kissed my shoulder. And whispered, "Thank you for saying something that night." I frowned. For what? For not letting us drift without fighting for us. I swallowed. Because I almost hadn't. I almost stayed quiet. I almost chose fine. And that scared me. How close we came to slowly losing something beautiful. Simply because we were too afraid to talk. Sometimes the scariest conversations save everything. And maybe that's the lesson. Not every relationship breaks with shouting. Not every love story ends with betrayal. Sometimes, things just fade quietly. Softly. Almost politely. Until one day you wake up next to someone you love and wonder why you feel alone. And sometimes, all it takes to fix it is one honest sentence in the dark. If you're listening right now, maybe there's something you've been holding back to. Something small. Something quiet. Something true. Maybe tonight is the night you say it. Not perfectly. Not dramatically. Just honestly. Because honesty has a strange way of bringing people back to each other. And we weren't perfect after that. We still argued sometimes. Still got tired. Still forgot. But now, we remembered faster. We reached for each other faster. We chose each other faster. And that made all the difference.